GM friends, and thanks for tuning into DeFi-Logic's TA Tuesday live in Discord at 10 a.m. Mountain Time every single week. We have a partnership with Blowfin, and our ETH algorithm is live on the Astrobit marketplace. Links are in the video description below. Join our server for discounts and to learn more. Today, we will review charts for Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, Pepe, Bonk, Whiff, Fantom, and for legacy markets, S&P, Dow Jones, NASDAQ, US dollar, gold, and silver. And with that, over to our Gigabrain PA trader guy, Eddie.
Okay. All right. So ETF supposedly is getting approved. Market went up. We're pumping. If you follow my Twitter, this is the area I'm looking to hold for now. And it's trying to. So basically, I'm just looking for this spot to be our higher low. And with that, honestly, we're aiming for all-time highs. If it fails to hold, then you'll just want to bid probably this area. Blue lines have been key for a while, but that's where you're looking next if this spot holds. I'm in a couple small positions, looking to see if we bounce. That's Bitcoin. We're finally getting some life because of the ETF stuff. So I've been calling for, I don't know, forever to buy this zone. Hopefully some people did, because it was one of the easiest trades ever. I think my average entry was like right around 290 or something like that. Right around here. Pretty easy trade if you paid attention and listened. Here's my target. We'll see if it gets there. I don't know if there's much more to say besides that. If you're not in because you're dumb, then reclaiming that too. So if you're not in, you're getting left behind. You have weeks to buy this zone, and I don't feel bad for you. Maybe you can get a retest down here into 34.62 if you're lucky. I don't think it's going to though. I think it's just gonna go up only, hopefully. We'll see. The news is supposed to come out the 20th, I think. And if it was anything like Bitcoin's ETF, I don't remember exactly what happened. I want to say we had some like fake approvals and stuff that led to a lot of these wicks, but I'm pretty sure we topped on the approval last time, right? So will we run it back again? Probably. I don't know if anything else has ever not been a sell the news event. But yeah, I think if you're not in, you probably missed the trade and you're dumb. But I guess you could just FOMO here and hope for another 20%. Crazy what like a little bit of volatility and news can do to the market, because like last stream everything was like looking pretty dead. So hopefully you paid attention to Symposium Sunday and bought that, because we're outperforming everybody like usual. Speaking of outperforming everybody, Bonk talked about this rotation in the server. Oh no, I'm about to get stopped on this. Maybe not. It's a small position anyway. We'll see. Anyways, talked about the rotation from out of Whiff into Bonk in the server. Initially did it all right here. So we're up pretty big. Another 40% move. It's looking good. I think it'll hit new all-time highs also. Everything looks the same, right? It's gonna put in these 3 drives and then probably top is what I'm guessing. So yeah, I'm like aiming for somewhere around here for Bonk. But yeah, so we like rotated out of Whiff into it and just beating everybody again. It's cool seeing all this stuff pumped because Don Alt was like bearish on memes and he got like 15% dump and then we've just ran it back turbo. So I don't know if he covered or not. I don't pay attention to that guy. I've never really liked his takes. But it did get me to look at this. And this was why I rotated out, because I noticed it was breaking out this accumulation. Then it retested it perfectly. So all the Whiff that I sold into Bonk is outperforming Whiff by 20% and also outperforming the entire market by a lot too. So we're doing good as far as that goes. Looking to de-risk around here from the Bonk. And then we'll see what happens. Maybe it keeps going higher. Maybe it rejects again and makes another higher low. I don't know. We'll see. Things are going pretty nice though. I'm basically just like victory lapping on the stream today in AR. I got pretty vocally bearish on Whiff when it wasn't able to actually reclaim this level, and it just was rejecting it. I started taking heavy profits, and then that whole Donald arc thing was like around here. So I don't know. I guess all I have to say is be in our server, follow our Twitters, watch our YouTubes, because we're pretty consistently ahead of the guys with 500,000 followers, which is cool. It still looks really shitty, honestly. I think Whiff's going to go down lower, probably into this level, but it's such a volatile coin, it'll probably go even deeper. So I don't know. We'll see how it holds up in this like $2 support region. But I've been slowly taking profits on Whiff as it shifted structure. It shifted structure officially in my book right here I remember I initially TP'd like around 4, and then a lot more on this bearish retest, and a lot more on this bearish retest too. And now we're like basically into bonk. Whiff isn't looking good at all. I think you can take your hat off until you can reclaim this 3.2 level, then you can put it back on, or once we're down here, you can put it back on. But for now, he lost his hat. He's looking for it currently. FTM looks really good. I'm long FTM from this little box right here, willing to fill all the way down, aiming for this high, potentially more into this zone as well. I guess FTM is rebranding to Sonic or something. I don't really know. It's actually really smart to rebrand Sonic. That's more memeable, but we'll see. I think you can fill more into this zone for now. Aim for this 1.5 area. So I'm looking for with FTM. It's got bearish dive printing, so it might even go lower. I don't know. I have an alert here for 7.7 if it goes all the way down that low. We'll see what happens. I think it looks pretty good. And then AR making some new highs. You really want to see it hold this. Some wicks down into it are okay, but you want it to be just staying consistently in here for another run up. If it starts closing below this zone, I don't know where it'll fall down to, but for now you just wanted to see it consolidate up here and then go up. So nothing really besides that, I think, on it. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you were correct too about the Bitcoin dealio. SEC posted something on X that it was approved like the day before or like 2 days before. And they're like, oh, actually, that was an intern mistake. It's not approved yet. So then there was a sell-off, and then it was approved. So I don't think we'll see that this time with Ethereum. That would be highly suspicious, but you never know. And also the other thing is too, yeah, Bitcoin had some stuff going on with ordinals and all that, but there's just a lot more on-chain stuff for Ethereum. So I think what you're saying makes sense that ETH is going to be up only, just fundamentally speaking. And with that, we will go over to GForce for the legacy markets, where we'll be talking about the silver squeeze at the end. If you enjoy our content, please give us a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button so you can stay ahead of the market. Over to you, GForce.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to the legacy markets, the chart I have up is a S&P 500 daily chart, and you can see that it's floating right now around the highs of the 5,300 level. We flattened out, had a huge run up since the end of April, middle of April, then in the first part of May right here was the last really downside on the S&P 500, and it's just run up since. It blew through 5,100, 5,200, now it's up to 5,300. It's had a good month. Usually it's the adage is sell in May and go away because the summer months aren't all that great with the markets. But this year, if you did that, you missed a huge run up. What I'm looking at is this little gap right here. We had it at the open on Wednesday of last week, and I'm seeing if this will get filled in. The problem with gaps is that they will get filled in. It's just a matter of when they'll get filled in. So the reason why I'm hesitant to see if it's going to get filled in right away is that NVIDIA has their earnings announcement tomorrow, which is Wednesday. So that gap might not be filled in for a while. Speaking of NVIDIA, moving on to NASDAQ. As everybody knows, NASDAQ has a huge weight of NVIDIA stock in its index. It's blown up past 18,500. It's staying above that level. It's going to stay above that level until NVIDIA announces. And if NVIDIA announces, the things with earnings is that they might blow their earnings out, but what the market always looks at is the forecast, okay? So forecast is very important. Are they running out of steam or anything that way? So even though even though they blow through the earnings, the forecast is very important. Keep an eye on that if you're paying attention. Moving on to Dow Jones 30. That headlines is 40,000. Everybody looks at the headlines and it always puts up the Dow Jones 30, even though it's an old index. 40,000, everybody wants that headline number, and sure enough, it closed up there back on Friday, and it's pulled back since. How much of a pullback we're going to get, I don't know. I think this might be just a head fake down, and it will go up. Again, even though NVIDIA is not in the Dow, the tide raises all boats, and this would be the old boat that gets raised by the tide with the high tech and AI from NVIDIA. Moving on to metals, okay? I'm going to include silver at the very end. I've talked about gold a lot, talked about gold in TA charts, and it is staying above 2,400. So this is an all-time high. I would say basically it's an all-time high for hundreds of years now. So anyway, we're floating around right now at 2421. So it's staying way above that 2400 level. I kept wanting it back here, that level back in April. It tagged it, came back down, tagged it again on April 19th, but we finally have it now. It finally blew through that 2400 level. So it's significantly higher. Now, the cousin, which is silver is just blowing up. It's looking like crypto right now. It's unbelievable. Silver really hasn't done this before. The only time it's done this before was back in early 1980s when the Hunt brothers cornered the silver market. Well, what that means is that they controlled all the silver in the US markets and then pretty much the world. But US markets for sure, yeah, people can actually do that. A private party can actually corner a smaller market such as silver or copper. What happened at that point in early 80s is that the federal government, the US federal government, just said, no, you can't do that, and just took it away from them. And they fought it for years and years, but came up with nothing. So the point is the federal government can do whatever it wants, whenever it wants, because it's the biggest bully on the block. But getting back to silver prices, it's staying above 30. 30 was like that's going to be a hard level to crack, but it cracked it back on Friday, no problem. And it's staying up there. So people are talking about how solar is the major push of this because they use a lot of silver in solar panels. So that's where the catalysts are thinking. I think there's other things because gold ran up prior to this. And I think there's something going on in the financial markets that's pushing this way up. So we'll see. I think it's going to stay up there. It might dip back below 30, come back down below 30, and then shoot back up again. But this is interesting. I'm bringing it up. I sound like an old trader back in the 70s and 80s, gold, silver, legacy markets, but it's coming back around. 50 years later, things cycle back around. Okay, Pepe, I'll hand it back over to you.
Yeah, the cycles are definitely interesting. And there's certainly macro correlations between 70s and 80s, right? And we're coming around to similar economic times. So it makes sense that certain assets are starting to look very similar to the way they did back then. And that's it for this week. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next week at 10 a.m. Mountain Time in our server, or for the recording on YouTube that we post usually within 24 hours. GN, friends.
Join us next week in Discord for TA Tuesday at DeFi-Logic.com.